Good morning, everyone. This is Sharon Francis. I'm the business advisor for the Minority Business Assistance Center here in the Columbus region. And on behalf of our director, Jesse Mark, I want to welcome you to our webinar today, talking about construction projects and positioning yourself for opportunity. We're so glad to have with us today Jonathan Dawkins, who is the pre-construction manager for Turner Construction, who's very knowledgeable in this area, this field of construction and procurement. And so he's got a lot of information he's going to be sharing with us today. So we want to welcome him to this webinar today. And so I see that we have a number of you that have joined us today. Hopefully you'll be able to glean something out of this. And if you have any questions, we do have my co-worker, Rosita Torres, that is going to be manning the chat. So you'll be able to put in whatever your questions are. And Jonathan will be taking time to respond to your questions. So hopefully everybody will leave here with the information that you need to be empowered and to go get those bid opportunities in construction. So with that said, I am going to turn you over to Jonathan. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate it. Glad to be here. Thank you, Sharon, for that nice introduction. I want to get right into it. So I'm going to be talking today about positioning your construction company for opportunity. And as you all know, just watch the news, read the newspaper. You can see that there's a ton of construction opportunity right now going on in Central Ohio. And there's even more coming, which is, even surprising to say. And, with the announcement of Intel, I like to describe it like this. It's almost like a CVS and Walgreens. When one sets up shop, they all come running and set up shop nearby, and we've seen that with the hyperscale data center market, Amazon, Google, Facebook, now Meta, all of those folks coming to Central Ohio, bringing jobs, bringing industry, bringing infrastructure, and also, there's an effort of bringing more residents to downtown Central Ohio. So there's going to be more developer-led work with those initiatives. So definitely Central Ohio is not lacking for opportunity, but the big question is, when that opportunity comes, will you be ready? And how do you prepare, do the work now that will set you up to capitalize on in the future? And I would hope to make this interactive. I know that the staff is going to be monitoring the chat. I will try to pause at the end of each slide and get a readout of any questions that are in the chat, but feel free to enter those in as I talk. I'm not sure if the hand raise, I'm not sure what features are enabled here, but I've been directed to direct you all to the chat, and that's how I will receive and answer questions throughout the presentation. All right, that being said, if we can go to the next one. So who am I? Sharon did a great job. I appreciate the intro, a little bit more background about myself. Of course, I am Jonathan Dawkins. I am the manager of pre-construction here in the Central Ohio office of Turner Construction. So my background is born and raised Central Ohio, went away, got my degree from Purdue University in Indiana, did a stint abroad, worked with a general contractor in Chicago, but made my way back home to Central Ohio in 2011. And have been working with this office of Turner Construction ever since. And I've held a number of different positions, worked my way up, started out in the field, superintending type responsibilities, managing subcontractors in the field, overseeing the construction of core and shell. Worked at OSU Wexner Medical Center. I did the first tower, which is now being eclipsed. If you drive down 315 through campus, is being eclipsed by another structure roughly 100 feet plus taller than the original cancer center, also done by Turner in partnership with Walsh Construction. So I worked there, oversaw the construction of the major medical equipment rooms, went out and did some pharma work, built buildings on a pharmaceutical campus on the west side. I held engineering roles throughout that time, scheduling roles throughout that time, project manager roles throughout that time. And the last project that I was a project manager for was the MLK library on the Near East Side. So if you all are familiar with that building. And real quick, fun fact about that one is, did you all know that the first building that was dedicated to MLK after his assassination was in Columbus, Ohio? Excuse me. And the footprint of that original building, throughout the years, it got torn down. The parking lot was over that land. But over the years, throughout the development, the new MLK library is actually sitting in the footprint of that original building. And MLK Senior dedicated that first building, and his son, MLK the Third, dedicated MLK library. So a lot of history here, I'll say it again, a lot of history coming through Columbus, Ohio, specifically in the construction industry. We're looking to grow in the amount of minority women-owned businesses that participate on our jobs. So these are the jobs that really shape my career and shape my view of construction as a leading industry and a untapped revenue source for minority businesses. So with that, we'll jump right into Sharon.
Absolutely. I just want to say that's awesome, Jonathan. And you're talking about the OSU Wexner Hospital project. We had a number of our clients that were able to participate in that project because they had that certification goal of working with EDGE certified businesses. So these are the types of things that minority and women-owned businesses are now able to take advantage of through these types of partnerships. So I'm just really thrilled. And that piece of history was special, especially about that MLK library. I did not know that that was initially dedicated by the senior Martin Luther King, and then here Martin Luther King III was able to dedicate this new one. So kudos, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, such a special moment. Of course, that was a Moody Nolan designed building. Ton of history with Moody Nolan being the largest minority-owned design firm in the nation as well. Black.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to be going through a number of tips. And the first tip that I have is know what you do and do it well. So this focuses on, and you can go ahead and advance the slides and, bring up the notes. Yeah, just keep on going until it's filled up. I kind of use those as my talking prompts too, so helps me out. All right, that's good. Thank you. All right, so what this first tip focuses on is knowing, understanding, and performing in your core business function. And this is such a important tip for small businesses, not just minority-owned businesses, but small businesses that are trying to scale in general. Because from the standpoint of a Turner, a $15+ billion revenue a year, commercial general contractor. We want to know that if we're adding in a smaller business who is maybe taking on the largest contract that they have in their company's lifespan, that this is something that they do every day. And it's not a leap to say, hey, we're going to grow the scale in which you're doing this, if that makes sense. So the old adage of, a jack of all trades, master of none, that doesn't give us that warm and fuzzy feeling. But let's say that, you're a commercial painting company. The largest building you ever did was, 10,000 square feet. To go from 10,000 square feet painting to 20,000 square foot painting is not a huge leap, and is easier for us, being the GC, to support you in making that jump. To say, okay, this painting company is now going to install the plumbing for a 20,000 square foot business. Do you even have, the capabilities? Do you have the folks? Do you have the, are they trained up? Like, who's going to be doing the plumbing? So that's an extreme example, but the core point is the same. When you're scaling your business, preparing for opportunities, understand what it is that you do well. And that is your core business. Understand what you do well and at scale. That is your core business. And that's what you leverage with potential clients. And then the next point is focus on opportunities that align with your core business. I just talked about all the work going on here. If we just run through the large projects, the Meta Center, each one of those data centers, 300 million. The OSU Wexner Medical Center, $1 billion. Intel is going to be tens of billions over decades. So these are, really large projects, and sometimes it's okay to say no to an okay opportunity, just so you have the capacities to say yes to the right opportunity. So understanding how to identify the right opportunity really goes back to the first point. What really lines up with your core business? What really lines up with things that you do extremely well and things you do well at scale? And those are the opportunities that you want to focus on. Not necessarily the shotgun approach. Every request for proposal that or bid opportunity that comes across my desk, I'm going to submit on it. No, that's not. It's not the way to scale. That's a way to stay busy, but that's not the way to scale. All right, scope, interview, debrief. So this point focuses on not letting any opportunity, not losing the learning in every opportunity, right? So this point says scope, interview, debrief. So a debrief, usually you have a debrief when you were not successful on an opportunity, right? So making sure to have that debrief is a good way to not let the opportunity pass for additional learning. Understanding, okay, who was a successful contractor? What was different in their proposal than mine? How can I be better? And this also keeps lines of communication up for the next opportunity, which I'm going to hit on in later slides. But starting with the scope, interview, debrief is a good place to start. And it also helps you identify these all build on each other. It helps you get back to that core business, because your debrief could enlighten you to know something additional about your business that maybe you did not recognize, but an outside third party picked up about your business, which is good. And the last bullet is request references. So, a lot of times, let's say you're a commercial cleaner and you're in an office building, you get shortlisted for the maintenance cleaning contract there, and you don't get it. Okay, well, what do you do after that? You request the scope interview debrief. You find out, okay, who won it? What do they do other than you? And before you leave, say, hey, okay, this is a large building. Can you give me the contact of, the business upstairs or next to you? Or do you have any other businesses in your network that might benefit from my services? You build a rapport, you get additional leads off of that, and hopefully you can leverage a lost opportunity to get the next opportunity. All right. So like I said, yeah, you can go ahead and bring those up. I do want to take a second and make sure nothing's in the chat. No questions on that first one.
No
Oh.
questions at this time.
Yes, Rosita.
No questions at this time. Mhm.
Okay, great.
Jonathan,
Yeah.
I want to ask all of our participants if they wouldn't mind putting in the name of their business and their trade line, or what it is that they particularly services or products or trades that they represent. That'll kind of give us a good idea of who's in the room, and and that may just spark some more conversation as well. So if you would just put in your business name and what you do, what your service is. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, right? Put in your business and your core business function, right? Let us know what is it that your business does and does well. Okay, so tip number 2 for putting yourself in a favorable position is put yourself in a favorable position. And it starts with the pre-qualification. And this is not just construction specific. If you're in any industry, working for any client, usually there's some sort of gate that you have to pass through ahead of securing that contract. May call it different things. Normally we call it the pre-qualification process. So, what does this mean? It starts with the pre-qualification process. Well, there are standard baseline documents that you need to have in your wheelhouse and at the ready. And I'm sure most of you on the call already know, what those normal documents are that you're asked for once every opportunity comes. But I'm just going to run through the top ones in my list, especially for commercial construction companies. Financials. So financials, income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flows. Like those are your standard documents. Make sure you have those documents available. If you have any of the commercial accounting softwares, normally those softwares will provide those documents in some sort of a template. So if you connect your business banking account, and I did say business banking account, not personal personal accounts, because it's good to not mix those for a lot of different reasons, not excluding tax reasons, but connect your business banking account into a QuickBooks software. And then add, whatever the cadence is, whether it's quarterly, biannually, or annually, you'll be able to run those reports and get those standard documents, your balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows. Then the next level, I would say, would be to have your financials reviewed by a CPA. And that could be a full audit. It could be I believe they call them like peer reviews or a review, reviewed financials. And then of course there's just compiled financials. I would I would really, if I had to recommend one for a scaling business, start having them at least reviewed. That's where a CPA is compiling your documents and making sure they're compiled in alignment with GAAP, which are the accounting standards, generally acceptable standards or something like that. I can't remember what the acronym is, but so that's financials. The next document would be your capability statement. So again, all this builds on top of each other. Your capability statement should highlight your core business functions and provide high-level examples of how you past projects where you performed those functions to a certain level, right? So having those prepared, continually updated, right? Because as you continue to get new jobs, secure new jobs, making sure that the applicable work makes it onto your capability statement and is updated, excuse me, it is very important as well. So, and I'll let you know also another way you can use this capability statement to maintain relationships and drive additional leads here in a couple of slides. But make sure you have your capability statement at the ready. Insurances. So this is one that varies across industry, as my understanding. I'll speak from a construction standpoint, but usually there will be baseline insurances that you need to have in alignment with your core business. So I would, definitely workers' comp and general liability, depending on the construction function, maybe professional liability, maybe pollution liability if you're working in potentially contaminated soils. So just understanding what's the expectation of the job, looking at what's the highest, I'll say the lowest common denominator, what is requested from the most amount of general contractors or clients, and make sure you carry that amount of coverage in your baseline insurance policy. And sometimes you're even, if you don't carry the amount of insurance, you're able to add on what's called a rider to build you up to a certain level of insurance, or maybe add on a specialty insurance that you don't normally carry. And those are a lot more affordable or economical. And in many times can be built into your quote. For a proposal in a lot of cases. So keep an eye on that. And I noticed somebody in the chat that may provide insurance services. I'm sure you can get with the folks at MBAC, and they can make connections where necessary. But it starts with finding out what that baseline level of coverage is that you need for your clientele. Safety is very important. In construction, we measure your safety by EMR, experience modification ratio, and that really judges the amount you pay out in premiums due to insurance accidents that you have, versus the amount you pay in payroll in a calendar year based on number of employees and hours worked and all that. And it works out, there's an equation, it works out where it gives you a metric where which you're judged by, and also your insurance rates are affected by this. Rule of thumb is you want to be a 1 or below. Anything above that is bad. Then you want to do whatever you can to work to bring that to a 1.0 or lower EMR.
Question for you, Jonathan. The safety EMR, who would that come from, or where would they get that form, or how is that generated?
That's a great question. So it's through the Bureau of Workers' Comp.
Okay.
So when you get when you sign up for workers' comp, they will you can ask for the OSHA 300A forms, and that will allow you to mark down the amount of hours. And it'll, there's a spot for the incidents that you had and the time off work and blah blah blah. You turn these in, and that's how your EMR is generated. But it's through the Bureau of Workers' Comp. It's a good question.
Okay, and that's construction related primarily. Got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah, construction generally, but industrial, manufacturing, a lot of those industries will pull on the EMR as well. All right, so I ran through the documents. Let me hit some of these bullet points. So it's important to understand that the pre-qualification is done under the umbrella of risk management. So it's important to have that understanding so that you can talk intelligently and not blow off this process, so to speak. Right. So when somebody asks you for all these documents, understand, why do you want to have my financials? Oh, okay, my financials give you an understanding of how much revenue I'm doing every year and how profitable I am based on that revenue. And that can give you a good indicator about what size project I'm able to do and do it successfully. Oh, my capabilities. That's how what my services are, what my core business is, and are able to invite me to opportunities that align with my capabilities. Insurance, okay, different clients have different requirements, so that either includes me or excludes me from an opportunity as it comes through. And safety, of course, nobody wants anybody to get hurt when they're on their site, right? So understanding your EMR will give a good indicator as to how safe you would be if I was to select you to be on my job. So understanding the risk management purpose behind turning in each document will really give you a leg up. You'll be able to talk intelligently about these documents, and it will lead into this next question. Can you help me understand how this information could help assess my qualification? And that's what you want to get to, because let's say that you do not have the level of insurance, or let's say that you have had a safety incident and you want to be able to explain that and not have that exclude you from an opportunity that could be a life-changing opportunity for you. Being able to explain, hey, I had this incident and it was caused by this situation. I have mitigated that situation from ever happening again through X, Y, and Z processes. Okay, now this is a conversation. It's not just writing this business off from this opportunity, right? So it opens the door if you understand what these documents are used for. What are acceptable alternates if the paperwork or documents aren't available? What if you don't have financials? I told you, hey, go to a CPA. Jesse Mark might actually be a CPA. I'm not sure, but MBAC, those folks can connect you with them.
Absolutely.
If you need them. Safety QA/QC plans. So I like this. So a lot of construction companies are now asking for a safety program. Please submit your safety program with your proposal. Let's say you don't have one developed. What do you do at that point? Well, I think you could ask them for theirs, right? And start there. Like, okay, what's your safety program? Let me use that as a model. I'm still working to develop mine. Another one is, hey, who are the leaders in your industry and what are they doing in terms of safety program? Who are your biggest competitors? Let's make this a differentiator. if your competitor is, doing a stretch and flex at the beginning of every day, then you need to be doing that plus something, plus talking about, tool safety, So now it becomes, it was a liability. Oh, I don't even have this. Now it's an asset because it's a differentiator between you and your competition. And maintain and leverage your reference list, which I think I'm going to get into on the next one. But I think this is a good time for me to take a second, see if there's any questions or comments in the chat.
No questions at this time, but we do have several that have entered details of their own businesses. So thank you to all those who gave the information.
Awesome. Yes, thank you for that. And in that case, we'll keep moving. All right, so tip 3, submit a strong proposal. So I'm gonna kind of unpack that. What do I mean about a strong proposal? First thing is, before you even submit, you have to read all of the documents. The devil is in the details, so to speak. Understand all the documents that are in, what's normally called a bid manual that's submitted to you for you to complete and submit your proposal. The reason it's important to read all the documents is, let me take a step back. Let me take a step back on this one. So as a lot of times the bid manual, the sheer amount of paper that comes in it is very intimidating, especially let's say you're a smaller business and you don't have a lot of folks that can go through it. Maybe you're going through proposals, at your dinner table, at night. So it's very daunting to go through, let's say, 100-page bid manual. How can you get around that? One way to get around that is to reach out to clients ahead of opportunities. So that can be, right now, and ask them, hey, do you have standard requirements that regardless of the opportunity, these are going to be key pieces and documents in your bid manual? Can you send those to me now so I can start going through them? And then it gives you a lot more time to take your time with it, to ask more questions. You're building rapport. You're seeming proactive instead of reactive. That way, when an opportunity actually comes around, it's just, instead of you going through 100% of the documents, maybe you're just going through 25% of the project specific documents, right? The stuff that's going to change from project or opportunity to opportunity. And the rest of the stuff is already reviewed. You have your template set up. Hey, if I'm going to submit to Turner Construction, reach out to Jonathan, have him send me the template bid manual so I can get all the Turner specific stuff set up. And then, once the plans and specifications for, the new building they're building come out, then I'm just focusing on that stuff, right? And that's the real things that take time, right? Not the other stuff. So I also have 2 other bullet points here. Understand your form of agreement. Understand that, a subcontract agreement is different from a material purchase, is different from a service agreement, is different from X, Y, and a maintenance agreement, X, Y, and Z. And the reason it's important to understand your form of agreement is because contracts are built to mitigate the risk associated with that contract, right? So there's a reason we're using a different contractual method for the opportunity. Understanding what that reason is important for you when putting together your price, because it's going to affect your liability. And it's going to affect your risk. Nobody accepts risk without being paid appropriately for accepting that risk. So I wouldn't I wouldn't have the same price for a subcontract as I would for a rental contract, because there are different liabilities associated with each, and they should be priced accordingly.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know that we've talked to a lot of folks that are just getting started in terms of bidding. And so whereas they may not be able to submit as a full contractor, but they would be interested in subcontracting. Would the contractor be giving them a portion of the bid documents to review and bid on? Or how does that work? Just tell me what that process looks like.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. And often that is the case. Let's say, I mentioned a lot of jobs, Intel, Google, Meta, Amazon, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So that means their, mechanical, electrical, plumbing scopes are tens of millions of dollars. So if that is not accessible, there will be other more accessible documents or subsections of the scope of work that are more attainable. And the process for submitting to that would be similar as submitting to, well, let's break down all the people, right? So you have a client, right? You normally have a construction manager. Then you'll have the construction manager holds direct contracts with their prime subcontractors. Those are going to be your largest contracts from a trade standpoint. Now there's going to be subsections of those trade subcontracts. So to get to the answer of how do you submit to those prime contractors is, one, you have to put yourself in position. So understand who are, if I'm an earthwork contractor, who are the largest earthwork contractors in Central Ohio that would be invited to that prime contract? Those are the connections I want to make first. Then, like I said, all these tips build on each other. Then I want to go through their pre-qualification. I want to ask for their template bid manual. And when I hear about an opportunity, then I'm reaching out to them. Hey, have you got the documents for this? Please share those documents with me. I wish to propose on X, Y, and Z portion of the scope, and be extremely explicit in the area of scope that you want to submit on.
Great.
And understand that sometimes the area that you want to submit on, they maybe self-perform, they perform in-house, or they're not interested in getting quotes in, but they're interested in a different section. So then a little bit of negotiation takes place onto, okay, what can I submit on? And they all build on each other. It's got to stay within your wheelhouse, within your core business. And it starts with getting pre-qualified with those major subs. That's where it all starts. Build that relationship first, and then you'll be able to work out the nuances of those subsects of the total large scope that you're interested in.
Great. Great.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing, I'm sorry. What about bonding? Is that something that's necessary at this stage, or as far as the pre-qualification, or is that something that would come after the fact? What is that
Yeah.
look like?
So some jobs will require a bond. Some I'll say this, every job is going to have some sort of default insurance. And bond, I'll lump bond under the default insurance, whether it's a direct default policy or somebody asks you to pull a bond on it. Regardless, it starts with having a good relationship with the insurance broker. If you do not, that's a key relationship you need to have. And very much like credit, the longer you stay with a broker, the better and more competitive your rate is going to be. Getting a bond will start out probably like 3%, let's say. But after you take out, you pull down on your bond limit a little bit by time, not over leveraging yourself, but you apply to your bond limit and successfully execute a job without calling your bond, then your rates start to become more favorable. But just like with credit, this is something that you want to do, right away, and stay with them for a length of time, because it's gonna your rate is gonna improve over time.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. All right, submit a complete proposal. So this goes into understanding the bid documents, what is all needed to be submitted, and make sure that you submit every single document. The reason this is important is because understand that you're not being, your proposal is not the only thing being looked at, but you're being judged by how you submit the proposal. So if somebody's submitting late and incomplete work, that's a good indicator of, if they are selected, what's their work product going to be like. Demonstrate relevant experience. This ties back into the capability statement, catering that to your core business and making sure all this aligns with what you're proposing on, and build a relationship through the proposal process. All my, I guess you can say an overarching theme is just start early with all this stuff, start the pre-qualification early, get the bid documents as early as you can, build those relationships with prime contractors. If you're looking at a subsect of work, as early as you can, build a relationship with an insurance broker and a bonding agent, as early as you can, because time will be on your side. All right. Any more questions? Thank you, Sharon, for asking those questions. Those are good points.
No questions at this time, Stephen.
Cool. We'll keep rolling. All right. Tip 4, communicate despite the outcome. So keep lines of communication open. Don't necessarily subscribe to the squeaky wheel metaphor, right? But there are proper ways to follow up without being annoying, to be blunt, right? Because I held the role of procurement manager, and I had people following up with me, weekly. I knew they had just like a reminder on their calendar weekly, just to shoot me an email or a text. And that's fine, but you have to make sure that how you're reaching out is relevant or makes sense to the opportunity you're asking for, right? So I'm going to give you some examples on how to communicate if you did not secure an opportunity or a contract, and then also how to communicate if you secured opportunity or a contract. So starting out with, let's say you did not secure that opportunity. Request a scope interview or a debrief. We already talked about how the debrief is important, the different things you want to do in the debrief. I just want to bring those back up to the top of our discussion. So in addition to getting feedback on what you could have did better, you also can say, okay, I'm going to take your feedback on what I could have improved on, and take feedback on who you selected for the opportunity instead of myself. I'm going to make myself better. Let me know, when is the next opportunity going to arise? Okay, so I'll use commercial cleaning. If you're a commercial cleaner, somebody reached out to you for a yearly maintenance cleaning contract, and you did not get it. Ask them, hey, okay, when are you looking to renew your incumbent cleaner's contract? Would I be able to propose again if I, take this bit of feedback that you gave me and put it into place? Would you allow me to propose when you renew the incumbent's contract. Then you have a definite date of when you should be following up. You also have opened up a line of communication. You can check in periodically. Hey, you said that you're going to be renewing your cleaner's contract in January. It's Thanksgiving time now. Is that still a good timetable? Has it adjusted any? Have anything changed? So you're opening up a line of communication, and you're getting an appropriate time to follow up. It's not just an automatic, robo email that comes out of your Outlook or Constant Contact or something like that. I don't know what's out there. Another way to communicate, if you did not win a contract, is share company highlights. So let's say you're an earthwork contractor. You missed out on an opportunity with Gilbane, and you recently secured a job with Turner, performed it well, and you got some good publicity based on the completed job. Send that back to Gilbane and say, hey, just wanted to let you know, I finished this job with Turner. It was around the size of the job I proposed for you all, but one successful one. Hey, give me a shot when the next one comes. Here's a reference from Turner if you want to reach out and see how we did on that last job. Let your potential clients know when you've completed relevant work for other clients. Why not? Share company highlights. The next one is when certifications of capabilities update. Let's say you're a earthwork contractor that now performs hauling services. Let all your current clients and potential clients know, hey, we've added this piece to our capabilities. Please let us know when opportunities arise for earthwork and now hauling. And this is, again, if everything builds on each other, this should be added into your capability statement, and use the capability statement as a mechanism to keep in contact. All right. So those are my two recommendations for if contract isn't secured. Now, if there is one secured, so let's say you just won a job, good job, good for you. What do you do now? The first thing you got to do is make good friends with account payable. Make sure your money is coming early and often, right? You got to get paid. You got to keep your working capital up. Make sure that all the documents that accounts payable needs in order to release your payment are in their possession. Find out, make sure you have the proper way to submit for payment down and understood. You have all the right contacts, you have all the right timing, and then follow up as you submit the payment and get a workflow down, so hey, come the 15th of the month, I'm submitting my pencil copy to X with accounts payable for Turner Construction. They're going to review it for a week and then kick it back to us, and we got to review and submit. So I got to have this person lined up to approve it in this time frame. Make sure you have all that down, because especially in construction, you work for a month before you can even submit, and then you have 30 days to get paid after that. So you want to make sure that you don't miss an opportunity for the payment. You don't miss a payment cycle just because of something silly or you weren't communicating with the right folks. Touch base with the project team often. The folks that selected you, make sure you're touching base with them, especially on a construction project where we have different phases. Let's say you're a commercial painter and the job is just coming out of the ground, the building's just now getting erected. Make sure you're keeping in touch with the PM and just to make sure that the schedule, hey, you told me I'm supposed to be coming in early summer. Is that a good time? Oh no, it's, the schedule is pushed. So now it's, early fourth quarter. Just make sure you keep those lines of communication open. And most importantly, understand your client's definition of success and aim to exceed it. Make sure your whole team understands how the client views success. Make sure your whole team understands what you're going to do to ensure that they know their definition of success, and then aim to surpass it. So while I was talking about this tip, I saw a number of different comments come through. So why don't we take a second, we'll get through those.
Yes, so Aisha Freeman basically had some questions in regards to mentorship programs, and I believe Sharon might have some additional details about that.
Yes, as far as what the MBAC actually offers to our clients is this type of support as far as getting your capability statements together, to getting your financials in order. And we can also, as Jonathan mentioned, give you access to various resources to help you make sure that you can put together all of those pre-qualification items. And as far as mentorship, that's what, as far as our counseling programs that we offer here at the MBAC, we are here to help you as you're moving through with your developing your business. So that's, you're in the right place. And so thank you for even asking.
Yeah, that's great.
That's the only question at this time.
Awesome. Okay, so home stretch now. I like to do this. Little exercise called "What You Said, What We Heard," and these are real life responses that I've gotten in my time as procurement manager and now as pre-construction manager that sound like good things to say on the surface, but then when you say, talk about what I actually hear, you understand that it's not so great. So if we go to the first one. All right, so this is what you said. I can do anything you need: electrical, cleaning, marketing, etc. So what is it? What do I hear when I say this? I hear, I do not have a core business. Jack of all trades, master of none. So we've talked about this a ton. It's especially with new companies, especially with growing companies. They're like, hey, I just need to get those first few contracts. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. That's it seems like it's good, but it's counterintuitive. Focus on your core business. This is what I do. I'm going to go after opportunities that align with what I do and grow that capability to be able to perform it at scale. All right, so that's the first one. Okay, so this is what I heard. This is what you said. Right now, it's just me and my business partner, but we could find the workforce if we land this account. So what did I hear? I heard, I do not have the capacity to manage your account right now, and the workforce I will get will take time to develop, especially right now in the construction industry. With all this work going on, workforce is key. I would rather somebody undercommit and then over deliver than the reverse. All right, it's third item. What you said, my company's experience has been in residential. I'm sure I can do a commercial project. How different could that be? So what did I hear? I have not really looked at what it takes to move into a different market or industry. And I want to stop and say this, so there are a lot of companies that have successfully transitioned from residential to commercial. I don't want to distract from that or talk down about that. But what is important is to understand that this is an industry move. This is not something that's just done every day. Like if you do residential, you can do commercial, no problem. They're different industries. It's good to understand that. And if you're trying to do it, understand that there are a lot of differences that you need to master to do it well. Okay, 4. I normally deal with X amount of units, but I'm sure I can perform 5X units if you give me a chance. What I hear. I want to scale, but I'm not sure how to scale in a financially healthy way. So 5Xing your, revenue is not something that even the largest businesses do without a strategy. And growth too fast is not necessarily healthy. Sustainable, incremental growth is what you should aim with, and is a lot more attractive to the larger companies who can. It's more palatable to say, okay, hey, let's work on 1.5x to start, and then we can support you as you continually grow. Our next one. I have my hand in every aspect of my company. I like control. All right, so what did I hear? I have not developed middle line managers, and communication most likely bottleneck because I am one person. Yeah, so a lot of companies as they start out, the owner has to be all things. They have to be the accountant, they have to do payroll, they have to be the operations manager, they have to be the salesperson. No, there's no harm in that. That is part of every scaling business's arc of their company, right? You have to go through that part, but understanding your capacity and working within your capacity to not let the level of performance drop just because you're growing in your staff is what I want to drive home here. All right, what's the next one? All right, I know you have dealt with John, Joe, and Mary on the last 3 jobs, but they are no longer with my company. So I think I'll be the lead for your account. What did I hear? Retention has been an issue within my company, and I'm starting to get stretched thin. So this is something that I've heard more and more now, especially with the number of opportunities, the opportunities in the workforce, people jumping ship. Being honest about your capacity, being transparent about it, and not being ashamed to ask for help when you're being stretched is better than again committing to too much and then under delivering. I'd rather have the inverse of that. I think this might be the last one. Okay, so I know I just signed my contract. What are the payment terms? My contract workers like to be paid weekly. All right, so this is a huge no-no. What did I hear? I did not financially forecast this project well, and the 30-day payment terms are going to cause significant financial stress on my company. All right, so this is a bad situation. Understand how often you're getting paid, understand working capital, make sure you have a plan to take care of your workers in between those payments. Make sure you're communicating both to your folks and whoever you're securing your contract from, and accounts payable. Again, all this stuff builds on top of each other, right? Leverage the relationships you've made with your clients and accounts payable to make sure your financial forecast keeps you in the black throughout the project. All right. Any questions? I think the chat is clean from what I could tell, but
Yeah, no questions at this time.
well, great. I'll close it out and pass it back to Sharon or Rosita to give closing comments. I appreciate you all's time listening to me for an hour. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Justin.
This is great. a lot of good information. Certainly these tips, I think are applicable to whether you're in construction or you're doing goods and services or whatever. I think that these will be great things to help you grow your business. As we said, you know, the MBAC is definitely here to support you as you move forward. Definitely reach out to us. And Jonathan, thank you for the information. Thank you for sharing. And this is good stuff. This is good stuff. I'm just trying to think, there were some other questions that had kind of run across my mind. I know I talked to a lot of our businesses that are interested in bidding on contracts. One thing that the MBAC has as far as in our weekly newsletter, I don't know how many of you pay attention to it. Hopefully you're seeing it every week. But we do have a section on bid opportunities where you can check the links with the city, the state of Ohio, as well as we have DOT reports, which, you know, we post all of the projects that are within our 18 county footprint, which is central and southeast Ohio. Contracts that are looking for MBEs and women business enterprises, veteran business enterprises to bid on these opportunities. I get these every week, and we put that in in the newsletter, so that you can, if you look on there and you see a project that you're interested in bidding on, you can request that we send you the full bid package. We have access to all of that for free. And that is just one of the great benefits that the MBAC has been afforded to be able to provide you. So if you are in construction or you're in the trades and are looking to identify a project that you can potentially bid on, and also all of the contact persons, you know, the project manager for, you know, those particular jobs, that information is there. So we can provide that for you if you do not have access already. So if there are not any other questions, I just want to invite you to our next session, which is going to be held on next week. I believe it is November the 2nd, talking about Show Me the Money. For those of you who may not be aware of the state's funding programs that are available for MBEs and women business enterprises, we will have one of the directors from the finance department for the Minority Business Development Division, Chandrita Boykin. She will be there to share that information with you. So if you are certified or looking to be certified, you need to know what's out there and how you can access that. And again, you know, we are here to serve you as well. So thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. Thank you again, Jonathan and Rosita. And hopefully we will look forward to seeing you next week. You'll have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.